Hello everybody. If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 491, The Road Rage Incident. Intermediate. Tom gripped the steering wheel of his old blue hatchback, his knuckles pale under the morning sun. He was driving to work along the quiet country roads near his village in Kent. The air was crisp and the hedgerows bloomed with spring flowers. It was a normal Tuesday, or so he thought. Behind him, a shiny black SUV appeared, its engine roaring like an angry beast. Tom glanced in his rearview mirror. The SUV was close, too close. Its driver, a man with a red face and a scowl, honked the horn loudly. Tom frowned. He was driving at the speed limit, 40 miles an hour, and there was no room to overtake on the narrow road. "What's his problem?" Tom muttered, keeping his eyes on the road. He signalled left to show he was aware of the car behind, but the honking continued. The SUV driver flashed his headlights, the bright beams glaring in Tom's mirror. Tom's heart beat faster. He didn't want trouble, but this driver seemed determined to make some. At a junction, Tom slowed to check for oncoming traffic. The SUV driver leaned on the horn again, a long, piercing blast. Tom took a deep breath and stayed calm. He turned left onto a wider road, hoping the other driver would pass and leave him alone, but the SUV stayed glued to his bumper, weaving slightly as if looking for a chance to overtake. Finally, the road opened into a dual carriageway. Tom moved to the left lane, giving the SUV plenty of space to pass. The black vehicle sped up, engine growling, and pulled alongside Tom's car. The driver, a middle-aged man with a shaved head, rolled down his window. His face was twisted with anger. "Learn to drive, you idiot!" he shouted, his voice harsh over the wind. "You're too slow! Get off the road!" Tom's cheeks burned, but he kept his eyes forward, hands steady on the wheel. He knew responding would only make things worse. The SUV driver kept yelling, gesturing wildly with one hand while steering with the other. Cars behind them slowed, their drivers watching the scene unfold. "I'm sorry if I upset you," Tom said calmly, loud enough for the man to hear, though he doubted it would help. The SUV driver sneered, spat a few more insults, then roared ahead, cutting in front of Tom so sharply that he had to brake to avoid a collision. Tom exhaled, his shoulders relaxing slightly. "What a morning," he said to himself. He turned on the radio, letting the soft hum of music ease his nerves. But the incident stayed with him. Why was that driver so angry? Tom hadn't done anything wrong. He wondered if the man was having a bad day or if he was always like that. A few miles later, Tom spotted the black SUV again. It was pulled over on the roadside, its hazard lights flashing. The driver stood next to it, kicking a flat tire in frustration. Tom slowed as he passed, catching the man's eye for a moment. The driver's face softened, almost as if he felt embarrassed. Tom didn't stop, he didn't need to, but he felt a small pang of sympathy. Everyone has bad days, he thought. By the time Tom reached his office, the sun was higher, and the incident felt like a distant memory. He parked, grabbed his coffee flask, and headed inside. Life was too short to hold on to anger, he decided. The road rage driver might never learn that, but Tom wouldn't let it ruin his day. Vocabulary notes. Grip, verb. Definition, to hold something tightly with your hand. Example, Tom gripped the steering wheel of his old blue hatchback, his knuckles pale under the morning sun. Explanation, in the story, gripped shows Tom holding the steering wheel firmly, likely due to tension or focus. It suggests a strong, intentional grasp. Additional examples, she gripped the railing to avoid falling down the stairs. The child gripped his mother's hand in the crowded market. Similar words, clutch, to hold something tightly, often out of fear or urgency, e.g., she clutched her bag during the storm. Grasp, to hold or seize firmly, e.g., he grasped the rope to climb up. Squeeze, to hold tightly by pressing, e.g., she squeezed the stress ball when nervous. Scowl, noun, verb. Noun in story context, also used as a verb. Definition: noun, an angry or bad-tempered facial expression. Verb, to make such an expression. Example: the SUV driver, a man with a red face and a scowl, honked the horn loudly. Explanation: the word scowl describes the angry look on the SUV driver's face, showing his frustration. As a verb, it would describe the act of making that expression. Additional examples: noun, his scowl made everyone in the room feel uncomfortable. Verb, she scowled at the rude customer who interrupted her. Similar words: frown, a facial expression showing displeasure or concentration, e.g., he frowned when he heard the bad news. Glare, an intense angry stare, e.g., she glared at the driver who cut her off. Sneer, a mocking or scornful expression, e.g., his sneer showed he didn't believe her. Honk, verb, noun, verb in story context, also used as a noun. Definition: verb, to make a loud sound with a car horn. Noun, the sound itself. Example: the SUV driver, a man with a red face and a scowl, honked the horn loudly. Explanation: honked describes the action of the SUV driver pressing the car horn to make a loud noise, likely to express impatience or anger. Additional examples: verb, the taxi driver honked to get the cyclist's attention. Noun, the loud honk woke up the entire neighborhood. Similar words: beep, a short, high-pitched sound from a horn, e.g., she gave a quick beep to say goodbye. Toot, a short, light sound from a horn, e.g., he tooted the horn to warn the pedestrian. Blast, a loud, strong sound often from a horn, e.g., the truck gave a blast of its horn. Bumper, noun. Definition: the part at the front or back of a vehicle that protects it in minor collisions. Example: but the SUV stayed glued to his bumper, weaving slightly as if looking for a chance to overtake. Explanation: bumper refers to the rear part of Tom's car, emphasizing how dangerously close the SUV was following him. Additional examples: the car's bumper was scratched in the parking lot. He tapped the bumper of the car in front during traffic. Similar words: fender, another term for a car's bumper, especially in American English, e.g., the fender was dented in the crash. Rear, the back part of a vehicle, e.g., the rear of the car which damaged. Tailgate, the back door of a vehicle, or the act of driving too closely behind another car, e.g., he was tailgating me the whole way. Gesture, verb, noun. Verb in story context, also used as a noun. Definition: verb, to make a movement with your hand or body to express something. Noun, the movement itself. Example: the SUV driver kept yelling, gesturing wildly with one hand while steering with the other. Explanation: gesturing shows the SUV driver using his hand to express anger, likely pointing or waving aggressively. Additional examples: verb, she gestured for the waiter to come to the table. Noun, his wave was a friendly gesture to say hello. Similar words: wave, to move your hand back and forth as a signal or greeting, e.g., she waved to her friend across the street. Point, to direct a finger or hand toward something, e.g., he pointed at the sign to show the way. Signal, to use a movement to communicate, e.g., the driver signaled to turn left. Sympathy, noun. Definition: a feeling of understanding or sorrow for someone else's suffering or situation. Example: Tom didn't stop, he didn't need to, but he felt a small pang of sympathy. Explanation: sympathy describes Tom's brief feeling of understanding for the SUV driver's frustration when he saw him with a flat tire. Additional examples: she felt sympathy for her friend who lost her job. He expressed his sympathy by sending a card after the accident. Similar words: empathy, understanding and sharing someone's feelings, e.g. her empathy helped him feel understood. Compassion, a deep feeling of care for someone suffering, e.g. she showed compassion to the homeless man. Pity, feeling sorry for someone, sometimes with a sense of superiority, e.g. he felt pity for the struggling team. Story written by Grok 3 AI, image created by Grok 3 AI. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you.